Next, we got Orlando and Houston. A short trip south from the XFL hub. The new look Houston Roughnecks hanging that 2020 banner. Old Wade Phillips back in the saddle. You think they know him in Houston? Maybe a chance that he's maybe recognizable around H-Town? Zook, I'm going to give you some trivia here. Who was the president when Wade Phillips played for University of Houston? I'll give you a hint.
I'm going to go with Calvin Coolidge.
And if we ever get to interview Wade Phillips, which now we probably won't, he was also from Texas, and that's LBJ. That's the same grounds that the Houston Roughnecks are now going to play on. Wade Phillips was once out there running around playing football in Houston, so they know him here. And he'll have to defend a title. And although it was just 5 football games in 2.0, P.J. Walker and Cam Phillips aren't just going to walk through that door again. So Saturday, they're going to have to figure out other ways to win. Roaming the away sideline on Saturday night at TD ECU Stadium will be Terrell Buckley, the man you see there. T-Buck coming to Orlando. He was a longtime assistant coaching defensive backs everywhere, including both sides of the Egg Bowl, Mississippi State and Ole Miss. Pretty cool for him being a Mississippi native. No cussing, the motto at Guardians practice. In fact, all the clean versions of tracks that you hear bumping from the stadium PA for Orlando Guardians practice. No explicit music. So, Terrell Buckley, I will do my best to reach out and send you all the clean versions of Matty Fresh. That will be on my to-do list. I know you got to be a first-class organization, and I will do my part. Except when The Rock comes in, because when he cuts a promo, you're not gonna stop him. So the Houston offense against the Orlando defense. What do we know here? AJ Air Raid Smith back in H-Town to call the plays. Just 33 years old, a bright young coordinator coming up through. He gets promoted from wide receivers coach, where he actually worked for June Jones, where he was running the offense with P.J. Walker and Cam Phillips, and he was under that June Jones tutelage. So who wins that quarterback job in Houston is going to be very interesting. We're going to have a theme song this season, and it's going to go, Cole McDonald had an arm. Cole McDonald out of Hawaii is going to be a guy you need to know. Or is it Brandon Silvers, formerly benched by the Seattle Dragons in 2020? Whoever it is, they're going to throw it 600 times this year. I assume about 60 a game. In fact, McDonald said that himself. No shortage of targets to go to either. Deontay Burnett is my candidate to be Cam Phillips 2.0 in this league. He torched my Nittany Lions in the Rose Bowl. I think he had, what was it? It was at least 150 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. I think that was actually what got Sam Darnold paid in that draft. Cedric Byrd is another guy. He played with Cole McDonald out on the island in Hawaii. They went for a cool 2,020 touchdowns together, so they know each other well. True to the air raid, there's not a single tight end on this roster. Something you won't see anywhere else. NFL, college, no tight ends on the roster in Houston. So plenty of running backs to go around here as well, highlighted by the fan favorite Nick Hawley, one of the great stories in XFL 2.0. After 3 torn ACLs and a broken back, he will suit up again for the Houston Roughnecks. For Orlando, defensive coordinator Tony Carter teams up with T-Buck to head that D. Quick shout out, by the way, to Orlando Director of Media Relations, Andy Seeley. Definitely a first-team all-XFL media staff so far. Done a great job getting us all the information that we need. Thank you, Andy. And because of him, we learned Orlando is going to run the 3-3-5. He gave us a depth chart, and I noticed there were 5 defensive backs there. So no surprise under T-Buck, the former corner himself. Matt Elam headlining the defensive backfield. He's a former first-round NFL draft pick, but now 31 years old, looking for that XFL second chance. Remember, he was cut from the DC Defenders back in 2020, about mid-season. So Matt Elam be an interesting name. I give the Roughnecks the edge here. A.J. Smith vying for that NFL call-up, right? You see all these young coordinators rising up through. We could sit here for hours and name them all. I think A.J. Smith wants to be the next one, and this offense is going to be scary. Now looking at the Guardian offense going against the Houston defense, you have offensive coordinator Robert Ford back in H-Town, where he too played for the Cougars. I think Wade Phillips was a rising grad assistant when Ford was here. playing for the Cougars. Lamar Thomas, also on staff, coaching the Whiteouts. Guardian fans hoping he doesn't go down that elevator and get in that thing himself. He shouldn't have to, because they selected Charleston Rambo in the first round. We watched him at OU and Miami. I was actually kind of surprised that Bob Stoops, being so closely connected to Oklahoma, didn't take Rambo. But I think it's because Orlando got him first. So Rambo, going to be a great receiver to watch. He went for like 1,200 yards in his time at Miami. The starting quarterback for the Guardians, still unannounced as of airing of this show. Paxton Lynch is the betting favorite to win the job, and he's never impressed me anywhere he's been, even in the B League. If he does start, the key is to not throw the ball to the other team. Let's start with that. Houston corner Will Likely picked him off already back in April in Birmingham. Only 2 tailbacks on the roster for Orlando, so Jermaine Martin and Devin Darrington are going to split carries. I didn't know all that much about these 2 guys. They're actually rookies. But Orlando's not going to be running much if they're always trailing. So they're going to need to have a solid quarterback play. But this does have the makings of kind of that possible surprise, right? I feel like we haven't even taken the field yet, and everybody, all the self-proclaimed experts and the sports books, have written Orlando off 9-1 to win the league. And if you look at power rankings, if you just Google it, XFL power rankings, everybody's thinking that Orlando has the weakest roster. So this has the makings of a very potential surprise team. I like the pass catchers. I think if Lynch or even DeAndre Francois, who's also on this roster, if they can play like they did when they arrived on their respective campuses, Lynch, remember, tore it up at Memphis. DeAndre Francois was a complete stud at Florida State, and they have high ceilings, but they just haven't put it together in their pro careers. And maybe it's because they really haven't had the opportunity yet. We'll see what happens. Defensive coordinator for Houston, Brian Stewart, another familiar name. He actually ran the Houston D for 2 years for the Cougars back in 2011. So interesting to see him and what he'll do. Guys, Trent Harris will be a force for Houston, as well as Kerry Vincent Jr., and they're 2 reasons why I give the Roughnecks the edge here. I don't think Orlando's skill at wide receiver is really going to matter if you don't have quarterback play. You got to have high-level quarterback play in this league, or you can have all the players in the world at your skill positions. It won't matter. So there it is. I'm picking the Houston Roughnecks. Who you got, Zook?
I like Houston's offense over Orlando's defense. I'm also on the train of Orlando being in the basement too. So.
And Mikey Manziel, not with us tonight, but let's see if we can get a clean sweep. Is he going Houston? He is. So, not a great look, Orlando. Probably even more of a reason that they'll win now. But again, we're here to hand out winners. And the Houston Roughnecks have a solid squad under Wade Phillips, so we're looking forward to that one.